If luck would have it, and you wandered in the plains of Kenya, rich with all kinds of wildlife, you must have then followed the sound coming from the famous Maasai Mara reserve, and got closer to discover that majestic sound that came from an animal that loved battles and competition. With its angry demeanor and the wounds left by his fight with his enemies, which confirm the stories circulated about him as a legend of his time. He is a symbol of power, challenge, and rebellion, dominating the plains of Kenya for several years, since 2008, which was the date of his birth, the birth of the king of the plains and forests, the lion Scarface, with his famous scar above his right eye. This terrifying lion writes his bloody history alongside his brothers, who followed in his footsteps, forming a united front in the face of all incoming dangers. As is known, the cubs have no power or strength, where the dominant lion hastens to kill them or displace them, so that he can rule, mate, and enjoy the prey. Scarface was born in the Nikundo pride, also known as the fig tree pride, and after his birth, the strength of his pride with his three brothers, Morani, Sikio, and Hunter, contributed to his survival from death as a cub. He had to leave with them at an early age. They were 4 wandering lions, drowned in hormones of power, anger, and mating. They encountered troubles, and they repelled evil from each other. With hiding during the day and moving stealthily at night, the experience and strength of this pride increased to become a dangerous alliance capable of overthrowing the greatest challengers. The source of the scar that hit Scarface was not confirmed, as the stories circulated around it, some of whom said it was the result of a spear from one of the shepherds in the plains, and some of them said it was a fight and altercation with one of his brothers. Hence came the name Scarface, meaning the face with the scar, and this face became a nickname for anyone who resembles the scar. Scarface lived among his brothers as the leader of the alliance, although he was not the largest, as Morani was the largest lion among his brothers, and his name means warrior in the local language, while the name Sikio was given to the brother whose ear was cut off. As for Hunter, meaning the hunter, it was the name of the 4th brother, which came because of his skill in hunting buffalo alone. Since time immemorial, the lion has been known for its noble temperament, and kings chose his name to be an icon and king since the civilization of Sumer and the Sphinx, for his majesty in appearance and greatness in rule. Scarface and his 3 brothers raided the plains of Kenya starting from the reserve, so their name became the 4 Horsemen. But luck did not wish to favor Scarface during the beginning of his influence expansion, as he was stabbed in the stomach by one of the shepherds, but he lived after being saved by nature protectors, where he was well treated and re-released into the wild to return and meet his brothers. After a while, Scar and his brothers got bored of the marsh pride that they were controlling, so they set off to another, and that was a good luck for them, as the pride was poisoned after 2 years or less, that is in 2015, after a poisoned corpse was presented by the shepherds, which affected 8 of its lions at the time, before it was ruled again in 2016 by 2 male lions named Tatu and Red, meaning the 3rd and red, and it was said that they were from the offspring of Scarface and his brothers. As for the 4 horsemen, they headed in 2014 to the southeast to the plains of Paradise, and it was said that the pride that lives in the middle of these plains is also called the Paradise Pride, and is ruled by 2 strong young lions named Blackie and Lipstick, where a severe and violent battle took place between them, ended with the victory of the 4 horsemen and the expulsion of the 2 lions, then taking control of the pride, which was the best pride of the reserve in terms of hunting and strength. And through them, Scarface and his brothers wanted to ensure the best available means of living, as they had reached the age of about 6 years at the time. But the boredom that was able to get the better of the 4 brothers pushed them to return to the life of control and expansion, where they headed in 2015 to the lands of Rekaro Pride, and by coincidence, Blackie and Lipstick were confronted again, the latter 2 who were able to repel the attack of the horsemen this time and expel them outside the area. But the intelligence of Scarface pushed him along with his brothers to wait for the brothers to separate from each other, then ambush them alone and kill them. And this is indeed what happened then, as Blackie left in a protection patrol around the perimeter of the place, to be surprised by the attack of the brothers, who were able to kill him and tear him apart, to return to his brother Lipstick, and they withdraw after what happened, and hand over the area to the brothers for fear of their ferocity and cunning. Later, Scarface was able to expand and control several prides across the plains until they reached 6 prides, which are Paradise, Rekiro, Mohoro, Chinese Hills, Mara River, and the Observatory, the latter of which they tended to live near in their last days. The fame of Scarface increased a lot until the researchers looking for exciting stories came from all over the world. In order to photograph him and write reports about him, His Majesty appeared even in his sleep with his brothers, while sometimes the cubs played with him and tampered with his dense dark mane unusually, as the relationship between males and cubs is known for its aloofness. In 2019, some alliances tried to penetrate the ranks of the Four Horsemen and remove the Rekiro pride from them, like the Sala Alliance, which are 3 young lions known for their riot and enthusiasm, but they did not dare to penetrate the lands of the Four Horsemen. But on the way back of Morani and Sikio, they encountered the Sala Alliance, to be attacked fiercely. At that moment, Scarface intervened and stopped the fight for unknown reasons, and prevented his brothers from attacking the Sala Alliance, and some suggest that they were from his offspring. And because blessings do not last no matter how long, Scarface suffered a dislocation in his hind joint and became lame. The cause of this was not known, as there were no signs of fighting and wounds, while Hunter disappeared in the same year of 2019, where he left and was not seen afterwards, and his death is likely to be followed by a year or more. Sikio, who was severely injured, he isolated himself far from his brothers and headed to his birthplace in the north. Then he was not seen there or in other places. The disappearance of Scarface came as a puzzle. Then it was also rumored that he died, until he appeared at the end of 2020, and nothing of his splendor remained, but he was waiting to die with dignity. As his body weakened a lot and his joint injury worsened, he took the path of Sikio and headed north until he arrived near the fig tree, the place of his birth, and the place was protected from the Sala Alliance that everyone expected to kill him. But the surprise was to let him eat with them and then leave peacefully, as a kind of repaying the debt for his previous defense of them. Then he was seen resting near the river from his old age and fatigue, and a few days passed until people stood watching this veteran receiving death with all dignity. He died in a quiet afternoon without killing or assault, and because of his legend and majesty, people did not mind leaving him to the hyenas and birds, so they buried him after suffering 2 years of lameness and pain at exactly 1 o'clock in the afternoon on November 6, 2021. In the end, his huge and strong brother Morani remained, who formed an alliance with his son, and they set off to start a new chapter of power, control, and pride.